Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. I am your gracious host this morning. Today we're going to talk about the Magnavox Odyssey series and the video games for it. These were mostly out in 72 to 78. They did release a bunch of these. There's a bunch of different versions. There's the original, there's the 100, the 200, there's like the 2000, the 3000, whole bunch of different ones. I won't get into it in the intro. I'll do a little bit of digging and see how much they're worth. And then you guys can see how many different console versions there were and some of the big heavy hitter games for it. They did range from $40 to $80. So back in the 70s, that was still quite a bit of money for one of these. Then in the 80s, you saw a big jump with the consoles and they went up to like $200 and then up. Even the Odyssey 200 came out. It was $130 US in the 70s. So that is a lot of money, guys. So I would say this was not for the common person to have back then. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think these were super popular. I think only people with lots of money, like spare income, would have something like this. A lot of quirky designs with this console. I was not too familiar with it. I did see some boxes at our local thrifts. I did see some boxes at our local game store, and it kind of got me interested. I thought the one box was pretty neat. I think it was the second version of it where it had the red, where it had that cool design. I don't think the first one had a really neat design, but we'll get into it and let's get her started. So you'll notice with some of these screens I'm going to pull up, some of them have different things on them. The first one on this one is the Odyssey itself, the very first one. You can see one bid. It had some stuff with it and the gun. Now the gun is a very sought after collectible for this console, so if you see that, you definitely want to be grabbing it. 414 on the top. Then you see Power Lords in the second one here. $392 just for the game, 27 bits, very sought after and rare game. Odyssey 2 with the voice module in 10 games, $382. A 23 game lot for $346. We won't dive into those though. We'll go over more of the consoles and we'll get a ballpark price for all these guys. Okay guys, next up we have the 100. As you can see in the top, $62. 83 in the middle, 55. The middle one is the box only, and anyone that collects consoles knows that the boxes are usually very expensive. Oftentimes they're more expensive than the actual console. A little ridiculous, but it is what it is. Obviously a lot of the consoles survive more than the boxes. Still pretty good price. I like the one on the bottom, honestly. The parts only, it's untested, but it comes with the box and the console. And to me, if you're never going to play one of these, who gives a crap if that works? As long as you have it complete in the box, I would be totally fine with that. Now, my stuff out there, everything does work. Something like this, I wouldn't care as much about. Next up is the 200, guys. As you can see in the bottom, 138. That's a really good deal for that with the box. The box looks in pretty good condition, honestly. The middle one, $499. Now, the middle one has the inserts, and the inserts are even more expensive than the box and the cartridges and the game systems. Not many of them survived, especially stuff this old. And then in the top, you have $30 too. So not terribly expensive. Now, a lot of these are going to be untested because RF plugs aren't really good for the new TVs. You have to buy certain aftermarket adapters for them, and most people aren't going to do that. This is the 1972 console's first run. And as you can see in the bottom, $914. $969 in the middle, and then $969 in the top. Really nice shape, all three of these. More expensive than I would assume. They just didn't make as many of the 200 models, and maybe that's why. Again, these are all really nice examples though, but the price is a little high for me on this. I'm not too sure why it's so high. Next up, we have the 2000. Now, I really like this design. They were moving away from that bland cream, white, brown color. They went with the red here. Looks really nice. The parts only in the box for $62 seems to me like a really good deal. Looks like it's got some inserts with it, so really good deal. And then a 124 on the bottom again in the box. It's got all the inserts and everything. Looks really nice. That would be an awesome deal and something I would actually consider buying for myself, especially at that price. Now I know shipping on eBay sucks ass, but still, 125 plus shipping is a good deal in this. Next up is the 3000. Now this one came out in 1977. As you can see, $67 on the bottom, $69 with the box in the middle, and then $69 in the top with the box. So I'm seeing a trend here where the console's value drops as the age gets a bit newer. To me, that the first one or two are the more sought after ones. Now I do like the design in this very late 70s. They had this color scheme on cars, console, everything you can imagine. The oranges and the reds and the yellows and stuff. Just a classic design for that. We'll notice a lot of these games, there's only one example for them that have sold on eBay. Can't really help that, guys. I do apologize. But on the top, you can see New Atlanta sold for $277. Pretty neat. Looks like a sci-fi shooter or something like that. Maybe a spaceship. These games, you'd have to really dive into them to see what they're about. Again, when you put them in the machine, they'd be very rudimentary compared to today's stuff, of course. I really like this color. It's got the classic Odyssey 2 symbol on it. The Odyssey 2 is the one I see out and about more often than the other ones, and I really like the design of it. And as you can see, the top one, $37, $27 in the middle, and $37 in the bottom. Not a hugely expensive cart. I just thought the cover was really neat, and this is the kind of stuff I usually buy. This is the Backbit Pro, and I believe this says 35 games on it. It looks like that to me. This sold for $178. Again, it's the only version of this I could find on here. And while I'm doing this page, I might as well pull up this voice module adapter. Now, this sometimes is paired with consoles for sale on eBay. Again, it's in the box, but the box is pretty beat up. Still got $152 plus shipping for it. Again, a lot of this stuff, even if you have the box, it's kind of crappy. Definitely will get the value up for you. Next up is the Brainwave. Now, this says unpunched, so it was probably just sitting on a shelf somewhere. $277, probably used once or twice, maybe in really good condition. I'm not too sure what this is for, guys. Again, some weird stuff going on in the 70s. It looks like something you might stick on your head or something. Who the heck knows? It might be something to look into if you're collecting this lineup, though. Computer intro. Again, classic design on this. 41 on the top, 60 in the middle, and 83 in the bottom. Surprising the complete one went for less than the incomplete one on the bottom, but it just depends on what time of year you sell this and who comes across your listing, of course. Neat looking game. Won't get into it too much. Just a classic looking cover for the time. Next up is Conquest of the World. Looks like a space theme game here, guys. The cover's really neat. You'll notice a lot in the 70s and 80s they did a lot of these grid patterns on stuff and that, especially with space or military stuff. It looks like it had a bunch of stuff with it on the bottom. No idea what all that stuff is for. It would be awesome to have that in your collection for $40 on the bottom. It would be a no-brainer, especially with all the stuff with it. Next up is Demon Attack. Go into it too much. As you can see, one bid on the top for $62, 62 in the middle, and then 192. Looks pretty complete on the bottom there. I don't know if they had any extra inserts or not. I'm going to say it's complete. Bit pricier game for this system, but again, that has neat themes like demons and stuff like that is going to get you a bit more of a price on these. Horror, anything like that. We have the Killer Bees. Don't confuse this with the 80s wrestlers. All my older people like me, you're going to know who I'm talking about. Top one bid for $62. 76 in the middle, and then 1150 on two bids in the bottom. 76 complete, a little bit pricey on the side. It looks like the box is a little rough on that one. It is what it is with these. A lot of the covers look kind of neat. The gameplay leads something to be desired. I guess if you grew up with this generation, it probably seemed really neat and groundbreaking. We have Nimble Numbers Ned. And on the bottom, we got $91 complete, 69 in the middle, and then 63 in the top. All complete. Prices vary on this. The one on the bottom looks almost new, though, so I'm going to say that's why they got a little bit more. And then the top and middle are a little bit mid to high grade, I would say. You can see some fraying on the corners and that. Really interesting cover. No idea what the game is about, though. Next up is an Odyssey 2 game, and it's called Pico Pack. Again, no idea what this is about. $99 complete. It's Flash multi-carts together. Not too sure about this stuff, honestly, guys. But again, it's something... If you saw something weird like this, you would pick it up. In my opinion, most of these Odyssey games, I would pick them up if they were $5 or less anyways, just to add to my own collection. Next up is Shooting Gallery. Now, I did mention this one earlier. It was paired with a console. It is the rifle. It's in the case with everything. It looks really awesome, and this would be awesome to put on your shelf, man. $346, very expensive. It says it has 2 key cards and the overlays, so I'm assuming it's pretty complete. If you see this out, you're going to expect to pay up for it, guys. If you see it out, I've never seen one of these. Next up is Sid the Spellbinder. I'm not too sure what this is about. It looks like some sort of millipede, centipede type game. You're probably just going through a grid. Might be like Pac-Man or something. Pretty expensive, though, honestly. 70 on top on 11 bids, and then 13 bids at 105 on the bottom. Both are probably complete. Pretty expensive game on the console. You want to keep an eye out for it, guys. This is Smithereens. And as you can see on the top, $69 complete in box, 13 in the middle, and then 69 on the bottom. I don't know why the middle one went so cheap. It doesn't look like it's just a card. It looks like the box. So maybe someone just got an awesome deal on it. Again, the bid stuff tends to be lower than the actual buy it now stuff on eBay. Always check for the lowest price first and time ending soonest. Sometimes you can scoop in and grab a deal like this. Like this was an awesome deal for that guy in my opinion. This is the voice command module. Now I might have mentioned this in an earlier video. As you can see in the top, 152. I believe I did cover that one. And Then the middle one, we've got 277 and then 138 on the bottom for the module only. Just a neat little add-on. You want to keep an eye out. If you see this in a game store, it's definitely going to be up on a shelf somewhere. It won't be down with like the common junk and that, because they are pretty expensive. Next up is Type and Tell. No idea what this is about. Really neat looking cover though. 48 on the bottom, 67 in the middle with the manual, and then 78 on top. Looks pretty complete. Looked that way in the 70s. There wasn't a lot you could do with these, so I guess they just kind of had to think out of the box and that. This stuff, maybe it was just like a word game or something like that, which could still be lots of fun. The last one on the list might get Tim a little excited, but I hate to burst his bubble. It's not the Ninja Turtles, it's just Turtles. Now this one on top went for $59. The middle one went for $54, and then complete in box, $138 on the bottom. Neat looking title, no idea what it's about. A lot of these games I notice have a theme that they look like centipede, millipede type stuff. I don't know why, but it's just that thing on the bottom, the squirrely walkway or whatever. That's just me though. That'll be it for the Odyssey, guys. There's not a lot to go over. There's not a lot of games available for it that I can see, even though it did have a pretty good lifespan from what I can tell. Again, 1978, she petered out, so well before my time, really. I wasn't really playing games at that age. I was still probably crapping my pants. These consoles pretty much were what started everything, and it's too bad they couldn't keep it going. I'm not too sure why. I don't know what happened with Magnavox. Maybe just the Atari squashed it out when it came out. That could be too, because I think Atari was 77 or 78, the first one. So maybe that's what put the kibosh on this. You know how it is with consoles, guys. They come and they go. We've seen tons of them. I've done tons of them on the channel. Any obscure stuff you'd like me to go over, I'd be more than happy to. I'm not too sure what other consoles to go over. I got a few more ideas. I really do enjoy doing these videos. It takes me back to a time when things were much more simple and fun. Please comment down below, let me know. Please like and subscribe if you're liking the content. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.